Welcome to WikiPodcast. Ever wonder who lit the fuse for modern feminism, transforming how we think about gender, freedom, and what it even means to be a woman? Today, we're diving deep into the extraordinary life and revolutionary ideas of Simone de Beauvoir, a philosopher whose pen didn't just write words, it ignited a global movement. Born in Paris in 1908, Simone Lucie Ernestine Marie Bertrand de Beauvoir wasn't born into a life of rebellion. Her bourgeois family was traditional, even religious. But even as a young girl, Simone was different. She questioned everything, devoured books, and showed an intellectual curiosity that was way ahead of her time. She was brilliant, excelling in philosophy at the Sorbonne, a rarity for women then. It was there, amidst the bustling intellectual cafes of Paris, that she met Jean-Paul Sartre. Their lifelong intellectual partnership, famously unconventional and deeply intertwined, became a legend in itself. They shared ideas, challenged each other, and together explored the depths of existentialism, the philosophy that emphasizes individual freedom, responsibility, and the search for meaning in a world without inherent purpose. While Sartre was grappling with the nature of being, Simone started questioning, what does existentialism mean for women? This wasn't just an academic exercise for her, it was deeply personal. She looked around and saw a world where women were consistently defined not by their own choices, but by their relationship to men. They were the other, not the subject. This frustration, this sharp observation, simmered for years, eventually exploding onto the page in 1949 with her monumental work, The Second Sex. The Second Sex wasn't just a book, it was a bomb. It tore apart centuries of assumptions about women's roles, their supposed nature, and their place in society. Her most famous line, "One is not born, but rather becomes," a woman, shattered the idea of a fixed, biological destiny. She argued that much of what we perceive as feminine behavior is actually a product of societal conditioning, of expectations imposed upon us from birth. She explored how women have historically been relegated to the immanent, the domestic, the repetitive, the passive, while men were free to pursue the transcendent, creation, action, public life. Beauvoir argued that for women to truly be free, they must escape this trap of immanence, embrace their own projects, and define their own existence, just like men. It was a call to arms for women to reclaim their freedom, to transcend the roles society had prescribed for them, and to become subjects of their own lives. This wasn't about hating men, it was about loving freedom and equality for everyone. The book caused an absolute sensation, sparking outrage and inspiration in equal measure. It was banned in some places, celebrated in others, and translated worldwide. It laid the philosophical groundwork for second-wave feminism, influencing generations of thinkers, activists, and everyday women. It pushed people to question everything: marriage, motherhood, work, identity. It showed that personal struggles were often connected to larger societal structures. Beauvoir's legacy isn't just in her writings, it's in the way she lived. She embodied her philosophy of freedom and authenticity, living an independent life, never marrying, and dedicating herself to her work and her intellectual pursuits. She continued to write, to speak out against injustice, and to advocate for women's rights until her death in 1986. Simone de Beauvoir wasn't just a philosopher, she was a liberationist. She gave us the language, the concepts, and the courage to see women not as secondary beings, but as full, autonomous individuals capable of defining their own destinies. Her ideas are as relevant today as they were over 70 years ago, pushing us to continue the work of dismantling oppression and building a truly free and equal world. Thanks for listening. Write us your opinion in the comments on how do you think Simone de Beauvoir's ideas about freedom and societal conditioning relate to modern challenges faced by women today? Subscribe to the channel to help more listeners reach our episodes. Thank you and have an amazing day.